Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on wherever you are in this world. My name is Haroon.
And my name is Tarib. It's a pleasure to be joining you guys.
In today's episode, we look at mental health. Now, we all know there are many different types of mental illnesses, but today, our focus will be on depression. In today's society, we are faced with or placed in many unpredictable and stressful situations. However, some of us manage to properly analyze the situations and maintain our sanity. Others may encounter similar situations and become mentally depressed. Some reasons for being depressed are normal, such as a death of a family member, divorce or a breakup, or a loss of a job. Depression is the most common psychological disorder that affects both young, old, rich, or poor.
Yeah, depression is like a sad bubble you live in. And the way I look at it, since depression is so widespread, I feel like everyone is living in that bubble. Even though we don't see that bubble, even though there are people acting normal, but we don't really know what they're going through. They might put up on a happy face. You might put up a happy face, but in reality, that is not who you are. When you go through depression, you put on an image that is convenient with how the society wants you to work. If they want you to be a productive worker, that's the image you put on. If they want you to be a leader at your workforce, that's the image you put on. If your family expects you to be a bread provider, if your wife wants you to be a loyal and loving partner, that's the image you got to put on. There are a lot of people that at this point and this time and age don't really truly show themselves. And I think that is the saddest reality of the time we live in, that people are not able to show who they really are because there are so many negative stigmas around you. When you're depressed, people think that you are a mentally unproductive person who cannot perform normal functions, which is to the point true. But if people start treating a person like that, instead of giving them hope, instead of giving them help, then truly that person's do turn into a mentally ill person, and it's very hard for that person to get out of that bubble. To be in fairness to our friends and family, they're always there to help you. They have good intentions. But having good intentions is not in contention with having the right tools. If my friend is depressed, I might want to help him, but I don't know how. So it is very important to not feel guilty and to tell your close ones who are going through this mental issue to get professional help. It is high time that we recognize that professional help is what is really needed. Friends and family are there for support. And Harun, what I want to ask you is, why do you think there's so many barriers between a person getting in touch with professional help?
Now, that's a very good question you asked me there, Tharib. There are several factors I would like to point out to this. First off, is that most of us are generally shy when it comes to expressing our feelings and problems because we feel that we might get judged by the people around us. Like, for instance, let's say if you're living with your parents or living with your spouse or partner, you're going to be looked at as if you were just over exaggerating or causing a scene. That being said, seeking medical treatment becomes almost impossible for you solely because of negative judgment from the people you're close with. And what bothers me is that, let's say, if you're still gonna go for treatment, if you tell those same individuals that you're going for mental counseling, they're gonna look down on you. They're gonna start, emotionally blackmailing you and stuff. They're gonna start throwing, hey, dude, did you have like trust issues? You should have just come to us in the first place, and we're here to help you, blah, blah, blah. One thing I want to point out is that mental illness, especially in our Asian communities, isn't really sort of accepted or admitted. Some of us don't really believe in anxiety nor depression. It's almost not socially acceptable to accept your own illness. And they just kind of look at you as if you're just acting crazy. And I know for the fact that that's not the case, but you can never change people. Another factor I would like to point out is that depression can be linked to money stress, and people with debt are more likely to have depression. You can have financial issues like student loan debt, healthcare debt, childcare expenses, and especially the expensive housing market, etc., etc. So, not many millennials can afford to seek treatment. And also, I want to add that the health insurance per person is off the roof. In the 1960s, insurance per person used to be around $146 annually. Today, it's $10,345. It is crazy. It is really crazy, what's going on. And that's why you have so many mentally ill people committing suicides in the end because they can't afford to seek treatment. And that's the harsh reality.
That is very accurate. And the sad part is about it, even though we're in the 21st century and the technological and medical department have advanced to new levels, we still haven't figured out the way to deal with depression. We still haven't paved the road for our teenagers to walk in that will get them out of this depression, because the matter of the fact is suicide is the second leading cause of death in individuals aged 15 to 29 years. So it is a very specific age group that we are focusing on. And we can have a lot of discussions about what causes depression. True, new technologies have limited our social influences around us. It has lowered our social circle. Human interaction have become the lowest it has been ever in human history. We all are connected through social media instead of a physical touch, a physical smile, a physical hug. And all of that has led to new problems. But even though we are facing new problems, we still haven't come up with solutions. And I do hope in the future that we have hospitals and clinics where we can just walk in feeling secure, that talking about our depression to a professional help worker or getting professional help won't come with the stigmas around that it does now. Now, if you have mental health problems, a lot of jobs might tell you to take off from work. Taking off from work means you're not going to get paid. So I think we need to come up with programs where mentally ill person is still doing normal activities and still doing his day-to-day routine activities. On top of that, he's also getting help, because depression can only be cured by activities. The more busy you are, the more involved you are, the less time you have, easier for you it is to get over the depression. Now, if you have a lot of free time on your hand, it is only natural that humans will think about the negative experiences that they have faced. I want to get your opinion on this is, why is depression such a major issue among young age groups? Why do you think that is?
Now, one of the factors is that if you compare the current time we live in versus the past few decades, we don't interact with people physically as much as we used to. Physical interaction among people has decreased a lot. I don't see my neighbor's kids playing around the block anymore. Um, I've honestly never had in the first place, to be honest with you. Um, Most playgrounds are just left empty. And keep this in mind, I'm talking about before this coronavirus pandemic happened. Um, I might sound like an old folk out here, but less social interaction is a cause of depression. A lot of young people are lonely because of this reason, I would say. And, when you're lonely, you're going to you're you're going to suffer from depression. And also, I want to add that some of these young adults are victims of online bullying. And basically, those are the only points I can think of at this time. What is your take, man?
Other few points that I would like to add on is that young people from a very early age, like I remember me being a young guy, all of us, whatever part of the world you are connected through entertainment industry. So when if you're a young guy, you were brought up watching cartoons, you were brought up being watch movies. This was not so much the case for our parents or even our grandparents. So you can watch a movie about a superhero, and the first 5 minutes he's being bullied, and by the end of the movie he's saving the world. So we are brought up with very unclear expectations, with very unexpected scenarios in life, where we think that if we don't do something extraordinary, if you're not doing something big as per se, if you're not changing the world, then we're not worth it. And just like the movies, we want everything quick. But what we do face to realize that in reality, everything needs patience, everything takes time. Sometimes you can end up a whole life working toward a very good cause and not achieving anything. That is a very fair and grim reality of our life, my friends, that we need to come in touch with, and we need to come in contact with that. Even in your lifetime, you might not still be able to see the fruits of your hard work. And this is not what the entertainment industry teaches us. Second point is social media. Social media always constantly tells us to compare our lives with other people, no matter our ethnicity, our geographic location, our pay gap, our standard of living. It always is showing us the best of the best highlights, and we're always comparing ourselves to the highest, to the most beautiful, to the most physically fit, to the most rich, and we're always comparing ourselves to other people, which leads to depression. And that is why I think depression is such a major issue between young people, because they want everything in their fingertips. Now, I'm not saying that young people do not go through abuse. I'm not saying young people do not go through mental hurdles, do not go through negative experiences. That is very true. Young people do actually go through a lot of that stuff. But on the other side, we have to blame the entertainment and social media industry that hasn't really provided guidelines on how to live a normal, healthy life while still being engaged with those stuff. And what do you think about the entertainment industry?
Now, I don't have a lot to say about the entertainment industry, but what I can say is that the entertainment industry has a huge impact on young adults for sure. Like, for instance, pushing out certain beauty norms onto people about what you should look like, how you should act, what's ideal and all that kind of stuff. I spend a lot of time on YouTube, to be honest with you, and I have seen a lot of influencers showing off their very expensive assets like, supercars, high end designer clothes. But what's wrong is that they are spreading the wrong message. These influencers make their viewers feel that success can be only achieved if you have a certain product, and that can lower someone's self esteem for those who don't have it. And that is another way depression is caused.
Yes, true. And I do hope that a lot of people realize, even though these lifestyles that we think that such and such type of celebrity has everything, the true reality, my friend, is that a lot of these celebrities are depressed themselves. And we don't hate anyone, we don't hate celebrities. They're as humans as we are, and we do hope and pray that they seek professional help and get cured themselves. And a lot of respect to celebrities who come out and talk about mental health problems. It takes a lot of courage, but we do hope to see a time in our life where we can talk about mental health openly with no stigmas around, when we can walk into a clinic totally secure, knowing that we will be taken care of without any overburdening financial helps. One advice we would like you to leave with is: an empty mind is a mind that is a best friend to depression. So do not leave your mind empty. Always have some outdoor activities, productive work, workouts, engaging with family and friends. And you are at your loneliest, to be honest, when you're going to sleep. So try to grab a book, read some pages, and it will help you fall asleep. Until then, stay safe, stay humble, stay human.
In the end, if you or someone you know is struggling with depression or has had thoughts of harming themselves or taking their own life, get help. Call the National Suicide Prevention Line. Their number is 1-800 273 8755. This number is nationwide, all across the United States. They provide free, confidential support for people in distress. For our listeners in Canada, the suicide prevention line is 1-800 668 6868. For our listeners in the UK, it's 116123. For our listeners in UAE, it's 800-463-42. For our listeners in Pakistan, it's 317-428-8665. For our listeners in India, it's 275-466-69. Thank you for listening to Voice of the Time. Just like Tharib likes to say, until then, stay safe, stay humble, and stay human. Goodbye.